A cold, decisive voice, yet captivating, like a warning from the depths. Have you ever wondered why, no matter how hard you try to be kind, virtuous, and agreeable, you still feel used, undervalued, or even manipulated? Have you ever experienced the sensation of being a puppet in someone else's play, with invisible strings pulling you, unbeknownst to you? This life isn't just about predators and prey. It also has those who learn to blend in, observe, and then decide who they want to become. And those people, they don't live by conventional morality. They live for leverage, that quiet, invisible string that decides who controls the room and who gets played. This isn't a game of brute force. It's a battle of wits for those who see through the veneer. In this world, your weaknesses, however subtle, don't just make you vulnerable. They make you a clear target. The game sees you before you even know you're playing it. And worst of all, these weaknesses don't look like weaknesses. They often look like virtues, kindness, openness, humility, empathy. But to a mind steeped in Machiavellian thought, a mind concerned only with power and control, they aren't virtues. They are signals. Signals to the predator. This person is safe to manipulate. This person won't fight back. This person is prey. Are you willing to embrace a harsh yet liberating truth? Willing to shed the layers society has forced you to wear, to uncover a primal strength, an absolute self-possession? Prepare yourself, because we are about to delve into 3 fatal flaws, 3 blind spots you never knew were turning you into an easy meal. Flaws that, when eliminated, will not only change how others perceive you, but fundamentally transform how you feel and interact with the world. We'll begin with the first flaw, the one that instantly draws manipulators to you like vultures circling a dying animal. This journey is of metamorphosis, a journey from passive to proactive, from victim to architect. Are you ready to stop being prey? The need to be understood sounds harmless, even noble, doesn't it? Most people crave this to the very core. They want to be seen, to be heard, to be validated. They believe that if they can just explain themselves well enough, convincingly enough, others will finally respect them, love them, acknowledge their worth. They spend their lives seeking these fragments of understanding from others, as if their very existence depends on it. They believe being understood is the path to connection, to love, to safety. But here's the coldly ruthless Machiavellian truth. The more you try to explain yourself, the weaker you look. Every explanation you give is not a bridge to connection. It's a subtle admission that your value is up for debate, that your truth needs justification from others, that you need their approval to exist as you are. Think about it. Why would someone confident in their own worth need to justify every action, every word? A person who understands their own power never puts their truth up for debate. They don't need others to agree to know they're right. They don't need validation to affirm their self-worth. Their existence itself is a statement. And once someone senses that you have this intense need to be understood, to be validated, they now have a hook deep into your psyche. They know how to control you. All they have to do is withhold that validation, withhold that understanding, and you'll crumble. You'll chase it, beg for it, keep talking, over-explaining, venting, confessing. You'll expose every corner of your soul, every scar, every fear, every dream, all with the faint hope of being understood by someone. You'll turn yourself into an open book, each page a detailed instruction manual on how to manipulate you. While here exposing everything, they're doing nothing but watching and learning. Every word you give them is a map to your emotional core. They memorize your fears, your vulnerabilities, your hidden desires. They know where you're susceptible, and they will exploit it ruthlessly. Machiavelli would say, power is in mystery. It's in silence. The moment you become emotionally transparent, you lose your edge. You become an easy target to read, to predict, and to control. This doesn't mean you should never express emotion or share your true self, no. But it means you must train your nervous system to survive without being seen, without constant validation, without agreement, without absolute understanding from everyone. You must learn emotional self-sufficiency, not letting your value depend on external reactions. Not everyone deserves access to your raw truth, and sadly, most people will use it against you. They will use the information you provide to belittle you, to manipulate you, or to make you feel indebted. This isn't cynicism or bitterness. This is a pragmatic understanding of human nature and its motivations when confronted with vulnerability. To flip the dynamic, to break free from the shackles of the need to be understood, you must embark on an inner revolution. That revolution begins with realizing that true power lies not in explanation, but in presence.
A gold, decisive voice, yet captivating, like a warning from the depths. To flip this dynamic, to transform the need to be understood into a source of mysterious power, you must internalize a simple yet revolutionary principle. Never explain yourself. Let your presence be the only explanation. This is not arrogance. It is the ultimate form of self-possession. When you don't explain, you don't concede that you need to be vetted by others. You don't acknowledge their right to doubt you, to demand transparency from you. You simply exist, a solid, unmoving presence, needing no permission or validation from anyone. Do not rush to correct false assumptions others make about you. Let them misunderstand. Let them weave their own narratives, their own judgments about who you are. Ambiguity is a powerful tool. When you are an enigma, you become intriguing, captivating, and formidable. They will expend energy trying to decipher you, rather than you wasting energy trying to explain yourself to them. They will wonder who you are, what you think, what you want, and that very curiosity will bestow power upon you. Speak less, watch more. Give people the space to reveal themselves, their fears, their desires, their weaknesses. When you are silent, that space becomes a mirror, and others will willingly expose their true nature to you. They will try to fill the void with their own words, their own manipulations, and you will be able to read them with ease. Train your face to be unreadable. Do not let emotions show too clearly through your eyes, your smile, or your expressions. A neutral face, a masterful poker face, is a strong shield against those who want to read you. Speak with weight, not speed. Every word you utter should carry gravity, should be carefully considered, rather than an uncontrolled outpouring of emotion. Master the neutral stare, a gaze that neither smiles nor frowns, showing no clear approval or disapproval. Do not smile unless intentional, and that smile should be purposeful, meaningful, not a reflex to placate. No head tilting, no small gestures that betray anxiety or supplication. Keep your chin level, straight, conveying composure and confidence. Respond with pauses. Pauses create tension, and tension creates power. When you pause before answering a difficult question or an insulting remark,
You force the other person to wait. That waiting makes them uncomfortable, makes them doubt themselves, and you control the rhythm of the conversation. If someone can't read whether you're angry or calm, pleased or bored, approving or rejecting, they will treat you with caution. And that is a more powerful form of respect than any compliment ever uttered, because this caution stems from uncertainty, from an underlying fear of an unpredictable individual. When you stop trying to be understood, a miraculous thing will happen. People will start trying to understand you. They will expend energy deciphering you, searching for meaning in your silence, in your few but weighty actions. And now you hold the power. You have changed the game. You are no longer the one being scrutinized, but the scrutinizer. You have transformed transparency into mystery, and mystery is the root of lasting power. This is not a trick. It is a profound psychological transformation, from a state of relying on others to define your worth to a state of complete self-definition and self-mastery. Now to this second weakness, one most people will defend to the death because they think it's noble. It's the fear of being seen as bad. This is one of the most manipulated fears in the world, and Machiavelli knew it centuries ago. He understood that people don't act out of reason. They act out of fear. And one of the most primal fears we have is the fear of social rejection, the fear of being called rude, selfish, mean, arrogant, or cruel. You've been trained since birth to be nice, to be polite, to be agreeable. Don't make people uncomfortable. Don't stand out too much. Don't say no too harshly. Don't be bad. Education systems, media, family, friends all contribute to reinforcing a false belief that your worth, your acceptance, depends on being received as a good, sweet, likable person. We dread confrontation. We dread judgmental stares. We dread whispers behind our backs. We are willing to sacrifice personal interests, truth, even our self-respect just to maintain a good image in the eyes of others. This isn't true kindness. This is cowardice cloaked in civility. But the people who rise to power are the ones who can tolerate being disliked, the ones who don't need everyone's approval, the ones who can be seen as the villain and stink home. Because if someone senses that you're afraid of being disliked, they can use it as the ultimate weapon. They'll guilt you, shame you, pressure you, and manipulate your decisions. They'll say things like, "Oh, wow, I didn't expect that from you," or "That's not very nice of you," or "You're so cold." And if you flinch just once, even for a moment of hesitation, you're cooked. You've shown them the invisible string they can pull. You have placed yourself in the most vulnerable position. Machiavelli famously said, "If one must choose between being feared or loved, choose fear." Because love is conditional. Love can vanish when circumstances change, when interests no longer align. Love can be bought, swayed, but fear keeps people in line. Fear is an invisible chain, stronger than any physical one. It creates clear boundaries that cannot be challenged. In your world, it doesn't have to be that extreme. You don't need to instill fear in a literal sense. You just need to drop the fear of being disliked. You must train yourself to accept disagreement, misunderstanding, and even negative judgment from others without wavering. Start building your tolerance for being seen as wrong, selfish, or cold. Let people misjudge you and remain unmoved. They can say whatever they want. It doesn't define you. What defines you is how you react to those words, or rather, how you don't react. You must learn to let go of the need to be proven good, because that very need controls you. The more you try to prove you're good, the more susceptible you become to accusations that you're not good. A cold, decisive voice, yet captivating, like a warning from the depths. To truly liberate yourself from the fear of being seen as bad, you must undergo a social detox. Stop apologizing for having boundaries. Boundaries are not an insult, they are a declaration of self-respect. You don't need to justify protecting your space, time, and energy. When you become the kind of person who can be hated without losing your composure, people will stop trying to push you around. They may still talk, still criticize, but they'll do it from a distance, because now you're not reacting, you're watching, and that makes you truly dangerous. Machiavelli would have a cold absolute fix. Be willing to be called selfish. Let them say you're cold, cruel, ruthless, that it echo in their circles and respond with indifference. This is not aggression, but a nonverbal declaration of power. Don't defend your decisions. Simply deliver them, then move. No wavering, no regret, no need to explain. You owe no one an explanation for prioritizing yourself and your goals. The next time someone tries to guilt you for doing what's best for you, say only this: "That's your opinion," and then go silent. No defense, no reasoning, no emotional outreach, because the moment you stop chasing approval, the game flips. Now they chase your approval. They will be unnerved by your composure. They will try to decipher your non-response, and in doing so, they will reveal their own dependency on your approval. You will find yourself in a position few people reach, complete behavioral control without having to lift a finger. When you are not afraid of being disliked, you remove a potent weapon from the manipulator's hand. They cannot use shame, social threats to make you falter. You become a wall impenetrable by emotional pressure. This is the harsh truth. Truly powerful people are not those universally loved, but those unbothered by who hates them. This self-possession liberates you from the invisible chains of social expectation, allowing you to act according to your will, not others' desires. Practice this daily. Set clear boundaries and don't explain them. Decline a request you don't want to fulfill without recounting reasons. Ignore unconstructive criticism. Observe how others react when their fear of being disliked weapon no longer works on you. You'll see them become impotent, and gradually they will begin to respect you in a different way. A respect that doesn't stem from love, but from caution. A respect that comes from knowing you are an individual, unswayed by the opinion of the crowd. This is the foundation of lasting power, dependent on no one but yourself. Now we come to the third weakness, the most destructive one of all, because it doesn't just make you a target, it keeps you in a cage, the addiction to peace. Most people walk around believing peace is the ultimate goal. They want everyone to get along, no tension, no conflict, no risk. They want life to be smooth, comfortable, predictable. They fear instability, change, and anything that might disrupt a fragile equilibrium. They're willing to do anything to preserve peace, whether it's peace in their family, at work, or within their own minds. But Machiavelli knew something most people still don't. Peace is the illusion you're sold to keep you obedient. Look at history. Most major shifts, revolutions, power grabs, empire building, they weren't born from peace. They were born from conflict, from disruption, from discomfort, and from people who were willing to risk the safety of today for the dominance of tomorrow. The addiction to peace makes you soft, passive, over-accommodating. You avoid hard conversations. You tolerate microaggressions. You swallow your rage. You say it's fine when it's not, all to maintain a fragile temporary peace. This isn't reconciliation. This is abdication of responsibility. You avoid confronting uncomfortable truths. You avoid defending your boundaries. You avoid demanding what you deserve, all to keep the waters calm. But Machiavellian power doesn't grow in peace. It grows in pressure, in tension, in your ability to walk into conflict with calm eyes. The man or woman who can stay composed in the middle of chaos becomes the leader, because they are not swayed by emotion. They do not fear the worst, and they can make clear-headed decisions when others are panicking. The addiction to peace isn't just about avoiding conflict with others. It's also about avoiding conflict with yourself. The uncomfortable truth you keep dodging. The confrontation you know you need to have. The habit you know is killing your future. The fake friend you haven't got off. The truth you don't want to say because it'll shake the waters. Machiavelli would call this weakness something else: strategic cowardice. Because in your pursuit of harmony, you allow decay to grow. You let others step on your name, test your boundaries, drain your energy, and you smile through it, not because you're good, but because you're scared. Scared of losing the illusion of calm. Scared of what happens when you drop the mask. But what if I had told you that true power lies in embracing chaos?
A cold, decisive voice, yet captivating, like a warning from the depths. Machiavelli would argue that chaos is where power is built. The most powerful people are the ones who willingly enter fire and don't flinch. True leaders provoke discomfort not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. They understand that growth and progress cannot occur in an environment that is too safe, too comfortable. Discord, confrontation, and challenge are necessary catalysts for change and ascent. You need to develop conflict stamina. You need to get so good at standing in the storm that people create less storm around you. Because when someone knows that drama won't move you, that tantrums, silence, accusations, slander, none of it changes your posture, they stop bringing that energy altogether. They will realize that attempting to control you through emotional pressure is futile. This is the truth. Those who don't fear conflict are often those who face the least conflict. Your composure in the storm will strip the storm of its power. To apply this cold fix, make power your goal, not peace. Learn to enter tension without trying to fix it. Just hold it. Let others squirm. Let go of harmony if it costs you self-respect. When you release the need for peace, you become untouchable. You stop fearing arguments. You stop bending to make things easy. And suddenly, people don't mess with you. Not because you're violent, but because you're not afraid of violence, psychological or social. You can walk into a room and radiate one truth. I don't need you to be okay with me. I need to know I'm okay without you. And that right there is what separates prey from predator. Because once you remove these three invisible weaknesses, the need to be understood, the fear of being disliked, and the addiction to peace, you stop living reactively. You stop being easy to manage. You stop being the target. And then something shifts. People look at you differently. They lower their voice when speaking to you. They second guess before they disrespect you, because now they sense something else. Not violence, not arrogance, but authority. Cold, unshakable, unexplainable authority. And that's the beginning of real power. But don't be fooled. Eliminating weakness isn't just about appearing strong. It's about becoming strategically useless to those who would feed off you. Because most people don't want to connect with you, they want to extract from you. Your time, your energy, your empathy, your agreement. And the reason they keep getting it is because you keep giving it away without realizing what it costs. This is a shift from passively giving to actively controlling what you attain. This transformation is not just a change in behavior, but a rewiring of your entire nervous system, teaching it that safety and power lie not in pleasing others, but in absolute self-possession.
We've delved deep into the three core weaknesses, at least in theory. But theory is safe. Theory is quiet. In the real world, pressure doesn't test your beliefs. It tests your defaults, the automatic reactions you show when the stakes rise and eyes turn toward you. That's where weakness still hides, and that's what Machiavelli would target next. Not in what you say, but in what you signal, what you tolerate, and what you fail to notice in the people around you. Because even if you say nothing, people are always watching you. They watch how quickly you laugh at a joke that insults you. They watch how fast you respond to disrespect with politeness. They watch how hard you work to win back favor after being criticized. And that's how they decide whether you're someone they need to consider or someone they can use. These are the nonverbal cues, the invisible leaks you unknowingly emit, inviting manipulators to exploit. Let's dissect 3 tactical applications, 3 everyday behaviors that Machiavelli would coldly fix in you to eliminate your signal profile as easy prey. First is smiling to reduce tension. The smile is one of the most manipulated signals in human interaction, and for most people, it's unconscious. They smile to disarm, to appear warm, to soften a room. But Machiavelli would see it for what it is, an immediate surrender of social tension. When you smile first, especially when there's tension, silence, or uncertainty, you are telling the room, I'm here to make you feel safe. I don't want trouble. I seek approval. And in high-status environments or around predatory minds, that is a death sentence. Because now you've shown your hand. You've made them the authority. They are the danger. And you're signaling, please don't hurt me. Machiavelli's solution is to learn to hold a neutral face, even under stress. Let others smile first. Let them break the tension. Your silence creates the space where people reveal who they are. The most powerful person in the room isn't the one who talks most confidently. It's the one who feels no pressure to perform comfort. When you hold your composure, you force others to act first, and in that action, they will reveal their motivations and vulnerabilities. Second is speed. The speed of response, of movement, of agreement. Someone texts you something confusing or disrespectful. You reply instantly. Someone asks you for a favor. You say sure before you even thought. Someone tells a story. You jumped in with dedication, brave, or empathy, like your value depends on it. Machiavelli would shake his head, because speed doesn't look like competence. It looks like obedience. Fast reactions equal no self-ownership, and manipulators feed off this. They expect you to keep responding fast. That way, they control the tempo of interaction and, by extension, the power dynamic.
A cold, decisive voice, yet captivating, like a warning from the depths. Machiavelli's cold fix is to slow everything down. Let people wait for your response, not just texts, but in conversation too. If someone asks you a question, pause. Let the silence thicken. Then speak. Slowness in speech and decision-making signals one thing: power. Because only the powerful feel entitled to wait. The weak rush. The weak scramble. The weak react. To flip the script, make them wait. Watch how fast their mask slips when they no longer control the rhythm. They will become uneasy, try to fill the void, and in doing so, they will reveal their true nature.
Third is over-clarifying your intentions. This is one of the most quietly ruinous habits. You say something with confidence, you stand your ground, and then 2 seconds later you soften it with, I didn't mean it like that, or I just meant, or not to sound harsh, but, or I hope that didn't come across the wrong way. You think you're being thoughtful. What you're actually doing is begging for safety. And once again, Machiavelli would see it instantly. To him, these clarifications are like smoke signals from the ego. I'm scared of being misunderstood. I'm afraid of your judgment. Please still like me. And once that's detected, once your intentions are always on trial, you're now the defendant. You're not the judge anymore. You've handed over narrative control. And the more you clarify, the more unclear you look. Because power doesn't explain itself. Power moves and lets others interpret. It doesn't need agreement. It doesn't need understanding. It only needs compliance. The fix is to say less and let it land. If someone misinterprets you, let 'em. If they ask, what did you mean by that? Reply with, exactly what I said. Let the ambiguity work for you. Because once people realize you won't soften your edge to make them feel better, they stop assuming they can manage you. Now they become the ones trying not to be misunderstood. Now they explain themselves. Now they shift their tone, check their words, correct their posture. And in that reversal, you win without saying a thing. These are not tricks. They are transformations. You are no longer trying to be seen as good. You are not explaining your value. You are not sprinting to fix misunderstandings. You are still. You are watching. You are letting others overreach, reveal, react. And while they scramble to read your silence, one thing becomes terrifyingly clear to them. This person cannot be manipulated through social pressure. They don't flinch, they don't smile to please, they don't explain, they don't chase, they don't soften. And suddenly, they treat you like a wild card, like something they can't quite categorize, like a risk. And that's the best category you can be in, because in a world of puppets and pleasers, the person who shows no obvious strings becomes both feared and followed. That's how you stop being a target. You become a mirror, cold, still, and impenetrable. And whoever looks at you will only see themselves. And now, when all three weaknesses have been stripped away, when you no longer smile to calm others, no longer rush to react, no longer explain your every move, you enter the final stage, not survival, but ascendancy. Because the end goal, Machiavellian transformation, isn't just to stop being prey. It's to become the force that quietly organizes the entire dynamic. The one who doesn't chase, doesn't beg, doesn't flinch, but who is still at the center of everything. Feared, respected, consulted, but rarely understood. This is what Machiavelli would call strategic opacity. You become hard to read, hard to predict, hard to move. And in a world where most people are emotionally naked, constantly explaining, defending, reacting, you become something different, something the room has to orient around. But to lock this in, there's one final transformation. You must stop needing anything from others. Respect, approval, agreement, peace, all of it is dead weight. All of it is bait for manipulation. And when you kill that need, something terrifying happens to those around you. They no longer know how to control you. They lose the handles they use to grip. They panic, not because you've attacked, but because you've stopped being available to their tactics. So let's engrave the final 3 cold truths that seal this transformation. Cold truth number 1. Reputation is a weapon, not a mirror. Most people think their reputation is reflection. They believe it should accurately represent who they are, so they go out of their way to be authentic, to be real, to be transparent. They want their name to mirror the soul. But Machiavelli knew the truth. Your reputation isn't for you, it's for others, and it should be designed, not discovered. You don't want to be known. You want to be believed to be dangerous or powerful or necessary or cold or unpredictable. Whatever image gets you the leverage, that's the image you manufacture, because perception creates response, and response creates power. To wield reputation the Machiavellian way, stop correcting people's perceptions of you. Let false narratives float. Use them. Don't just allow mystery. Engineer it. Become someone who always has more going on than they let show. Seed rumors that create distance and awe. Make them guess. Make them doubt what they thought they knew. When you stop using your reputation to prove your goodness, you start using it to control the board. And suddenly people treat you based on fear of loss, not hope of gain. Cold truth number 2. The most powerful language is absence. When someone offends you and say nothing, just stare. When someone tries to bait you when you leave the room. When someone tries to win your favor and you stay silent, that absence becomes louder than any clever retort. Because silence doesn't just punish, it creates an emotional vacuum. And in that vacuum, the other person spirals. They overthink, regret, reinterpret. They imagine responses far worse than anything you could have said. And you never had to say a word. Machiavelli would argue that strategic silence is a scalpel. It cuts deeper than insult. It leaves no fingerprints, and it shows one undeniable truth. You are not emotionally available for their drama. You don't need closure. You don't need applause. You don't need to correct the record. Your silence is their mirror. Let them crumble in it. And cold truth number 3. Power isn't loud, it's chosen. The greatest mistake most people make when they want respect is this. They ask for it. They perform confidence. They inflate their voice, their opinions, their posture. But real power doesn't raise its voice. It raises the stakes. And it does that by becoming selective. Selective with words, selective with reactions, selective with presence. To become untouchable, become scarce. Stop showing up to everything. Stop responding to every jab. Stop giving your insight to anyone who demands it. Be somewhere less. And when you are present, make that presence costly. Make people work to earn your attention. Make your silence expensive. Make your approval scarce. You are no longer prey. You are no longer a target. You have become the architect, the undecipherable, the one the world must orient around. This is the solitude of ultimate power, but also absolute freedom.